What up, Edorf? Brody, man, the dude that caught all the big fish this weekend.
I got
Caught big ones. Brody was whacking big fish.
I told him how I caught my pike.
You want to tell them how you caught your pike? Should we talk about what the water's like first?
Yeah.
What do you think? Was it a fun week?
Yeah.
Okay. Brody caught lots of fish. He's pretty excited to talk to you about some of the fish he caught. So we saw a pretty aggressive week in terms of weather conditions again. We started the week off, it was hot, wasn't it? Remember on Monday, it was 95 degrees. 95 degrees on Monday, blowing winds, tough conditions, but we're seeing water temps move into the mid-70s across the metro. So things are warming up. Kids went out swimming a few times in the lakes, and the bite seems to be progressing. Most of the fish, bass specific-wise, are definitely post-spawn. We even caught some fish on the weed lines out in 15, 17 feet of water. The pike have moved out. Walleyes have moved on the weed lines. Bluegills are just finishing spawning on a lot of the lakes that we've been fishing, so that happened really quick. Crappies have moved out. So a lot of things are starting to transition into your summer patterns, which is cool, which is fun, because it gives us an opportunity to chase down some schooling fish a little more, find some more consistencies. We still find some fish up shallow during the early morning and when it's cooler outside, and later on at night, of course, some fish start to move back shallow because they're not far from the shallow water. If they are deep, they are not far from the shallow flats, the shallow break lines, so keep that in mind. But we are seeing mid-70 degree water temp across the metro area. We struggled to find a lot of bedding bluegills consistently. A week back or even last weekend, they were all over their beds. Now they have kind of slid around. They're scattered more. They're on the inside weed line or the emergent weeds right next to where they were bedding up, so you can still catch them. But that's where we've been finding most of our bluegills. Walleyes, we caught a bunch of walleyes, didn't we, on the weed line? They were out deeper. How you caught yours?
Yeah.
Brody's excited to talk about how he caught his pike and how he caught his big bass. Tell him how you caught your big fish, dude.
So I was casting it out, and then right before I went in, it jumped that high, and then went down really fast and got it, and I kept on wheeling in. I thought it came off, and I thought it went into some weeds, and I just saw it go like and then jump, and then I saw it, and then I got in the boat, and I took a picture, and then I put it back. So
The big pike?
yeah, I caught it
So much you caught it on?
Mita.
On the Cometa.
Yeah.
On the Chameleon Candy Cometa, the one that changes colors. You guys like that one. I'll admit I like that one too. That's a new color. It changes colors depending on the sunlight and that sort of stuff. Cool bait. But it was pretty funny. Brody just all of a sudden, we're looking back and he got a fish jumping on the water. He was reeling in his wacky rig to make another cast, and a pike came and grabbed it. And that was your big fish of the weekend, wasn't it? How big was it?
It was that big.
Yeah, it was pretty big, like like 2 feet long. The big dog. Caught a couple big bass on a wacky rig. Well, we caught a bunch of fish wacky rig fishing. We caught a bunch of fish. Yeah, look at how cool that color is. Let me see that. I'll see if they can see it. I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but if you look at it in my hand, it looks like an earthworm. It's brown. If I hold it up now in the light, I don't know if you can see it change. It looks purple. So cool color, called the Chameleon Candy from Mr. Twister. That's been one of our favorite baits to throw the last couple weeks. So wacky rigs catching fish. I did really well on a swim jig, an all-terrain swim jig. We caught a pile of fish on those. I was throwing some of the new natural series. I was not throwing the white and red a ton. This one just happens to be sitting here for prop purposes, but we were throwing swim jigs quite a bit up along the banks. Even in that 4 to 7 feet of water, I could fish this swim jig. I was fishing a little heavier one than this. I was fishing probably a 3/8 ounce, and I was letting it sink down and then just swimming it back to the boat with erratic pauses and erratic hops and that sort of stuff. Seemed to trigger a lot of fish, caught a lot of bass that way. Our bigger fish came on swim jigs, but we caught a lot of fish wacky rigging.
Yeah.
I was flipping a jig quite a bit. I was actually throwing a finesse jig. Most of the time, the last couple days, I had all 3 boys in the boat with me, letting the younger kids hop up front, run the trolling motor, get used to that. You and I, bless you and I went to the back of the boat, didn't we?
Can I tell them
And I was flipping a jig, catching a bunch of fish. What's up
Can
next?
I tell them at what we did at the park? So Ben broke off on a big muskie.
Yeah, the big muskie on.
It was like as big as me, and then it got stuck in the weeds. And I had a huge box on it. I was like that big, and it also got stuck on a lily pad. So
Yep.
it was like that close from the land.
the big bass in the lily pads. We like the lily pads, and then we saw a bunch more. Remember?
Yeah.
Lots of fish in
Yeah,
the lily pads.
there was like 10 of them swimming like in a circle.
Yep. But yeah, like I was saying, we also flipped a lot of jigs. I just sat in the back of the boat with a 14-pound fluorocarbon flipping rod, and just threw a 3/8 ounce finesse jig or 1/4 ounce finesse jig, just covering water, and we picked up a lot of fish in that 8 to 12 feet range, just kind of dinking around as the boys were in the front, really kind of fine tuning the docks. Brody and I, we didn't tell them, but Brody and I went in the back of the boat and we picked off a lot of the bigger fish. So like I said, the fish are starting to slide out deeper. It's a great time to get out there and chase down some fish. The crappies have slid out, like I was saying, along with the panfish. We caught a pile of panfish on the weed lines. So if you want to just go fishing to catch fish, it's easy to do. You can catch those on a small twister tail, or you can catch them on a minnow or a leech or whatever you want to use to catch those crappies and bluegills. They're eager to bite and fun to catch. And then the pike fishing is pretty good right now. We caught them on swim jigs. Pike are eating everything. Otherwise, we caught a lot of pike on spinner baits, chatterbaits. We caught some chatterbaits. Jack caught a big walleye, a 16-inch walleye on a chatterbait. And then we caught some walleyes slowing down and fishing leeches and live baits and twister tails. So everything seems to be pulling out to that weed line. We're not catching them super deep in 20-some feet of water yet. That'll come. But we are seeing them on the weed line. So what I've been looking at, if I could visually see the weeds and I can see that distinct weed edge, I'm backing off and fishing right to that weed edge. Very, very abrupt weed edge. If you can't see it because your water clarity or the weeds aren't as high, pay attention to your locator, pay attention to your graphs, and look for that weed line and back off a bit and fish it. Seems like everything's out there fishy. And look for any turns on contours. If you have straight contours and then you have a big turn, that inside turn on both sides generally is holding some of the better fish right now. So pay attention to that sort of stuff. Otherwise, get out there, chase them down, have some fun, catch some fish. What do you think? What are we going to fish for this week? What should we try?
Walleye and bass.
Walleye? Walleye and bass. So we flayed up a walleye for Grandma and Grandpa. They're going to have a nice walleye dinner tomorrow night. So when we left today, we caught a nice walleye this morning, flayed it up, and Grandma Linda and Grandpa Doug are going to have a nice walleye dinner. So hopefully you had a good week. Have a great week coming up. I have not checked the forecast. I'm guessing it's going to be consistent, and we're going to continue to progress into the more summer patterns and chase down more fish.
And Jack was the one who caught the walleye.
Jack caught that nice walleye. He was pretty pumped. So get out there, have fun. Hopefully everyone's catching fish, being safe. And for the kiddos like you, happy summer break. Go catch some. Enjoy it. See you next time. Bye, Brody.
Bye.